All right, gang, I suppose it's time to get started because we are running way late. Sorry about that.
Rock and roll, man. We are back for season 3 of the Fun and Interactive podcast.
All right.
Woo!
Hopefully Skype will cooperate now.
And we have a very special
There we
guest, one I'm
go.
excited. Somebody I've wanted to have on the show for a long time. The creator of some of my favorite decks, Trader Joe.
What's up, guys?
Welcome to the show, man.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
I'm glad we could have you on such an uneventful week so we could just, keep the discussion of things about you.
I know, right? Nothing going on in the Cecil world.
Yeah. So for the people watching us live, just as a heads up, there may be some weird things that occur. We're using Skype this week instead of Discord because Joe was having some audio difficulties. So if you see like weird shaking or blurbs, it's because the video on Skype is not friendly. Also, you may notice we have a new background.
That's pretty sweet.
New templates to commemorate switching to the new client.
It's pretty sweet you use that data mined background that we're not supposed to have.
Yeah. But yeah, welcome, Joe. We love you. It's fantastic to get you on.
Definitely.
Thank you so much. Likewise. I miss you guys.
Listen, not only do I miss you, but I said this a lot after the Master Series. You might be the funniest person in the Legends community. And so I'm just excited to get you where people can see you because the Master Series did not do that.
I have to agree. Joe is a hilarious, really cool guy, and it was awesome to meet you when we were in Texas.
Yeah, it was a great time, man. Even though I didn't perform very well, I had so much fun that trip. It was one of the best times of my life.
That's all right. Did you listen to the show? Derek didn't perform very well either, and he still did himself.
Do I ever perform well, though?
I mean, I feel like that's a question for your wife.
Hey, yo. So it's been a weird week.
It has been.
And not
It has
just
been a weird week.
not just because of the obvious Legends related stuff with the new client, but I need to talk about some non-Legends things that happened. If you follow my Twitter, some of you may know that I was interviewing some candidates for an open position where I work this week. And
Yeah.
I had somebody using a web conference tool, kind of like we are for this podcast,
Yeah.
who interviewed, and it was very, very apparent that the person answering the questions was not the person on the video.
That's amazing.
I had somebody who was literally like, he had headphones in. So let me try to do this. He had headphones in, and then he was holding up like the part of the headphones in front of his mouth, like as if there was a microphone there. But he was doing it so that you hopefully couldn't see his mouth, right? To hide the fact that this was like the worst kung fu dub I've ever seen. And there was this weird delay where we would ask questions before the person would start answering. At one point, like he says like his video's fine, but he says, oh, audio dropped out. But I suspect it was like his buddy that he was piping in had his voice call drop. But like it was so bad that when we got off the interview, me, the other interviewer, and then the guy who like found this candidate, he was like playing a middleman. All three of us like at the same time went, I don't know what happened there, but that was not the person that was answering questions.
That's amazing.
That's hilarious. That sounds like a Saturday Night Live skit.
It really felt like it. And then other weird things that have happened this week. I was at the Halloween store with my family, and we're getting ready to go in. So we're out in the parking lot, and my 5-year-old's been dancing. Now, keep in mind, my 5-year-old has never played Fortnite. He has seen other people play it. He's seen videos of it, but he has never personally played Fortnite. And yet, between like videos and kids at school, he knows like every dance in the game. So he's like literally flossing in the parking lot, waiting to go into this Halloween store. But then he stops and he does something that looks like he's having a stroke or a spasm. He's like flailing. He looked like Chris Farley in the Man Down by the River sketch from Saturday Night Live, and he's just flailing. And then he stops and he turns to me because he sees my puzzled look, and he goes, it's a dab dance. It's from Fortnite. So like my 5-year-old is dabbing in a parking lot and trying to explain to me what a dab is, and this is the life that I live now.
Wow. That's good times, man.
And then we have the client refresh. We've got Justin sending me weird PMs. I accidentally send like weird octopus dog hentai to Joe.
Oh
On
man, that was the
Twitter.
best message I've ever received.
That was
I'm
pretty
still
great.
thinking
Yeah,
about it.
that was pretty
you know,
great.
our Masters champion doing weird things this week. Our clients doing weird things this week. Like, it's been a weird week, is what I'm trying to say. Infinite dab emote. Yeah, or I was calling it the turbo dab because he was doing it so fast that I didn't know what it was at first. Also, I see you there, Earlmeister. Thank you.
You know what I can't see is my fucking body on that camera.
Yeah, I know. I had it positioned before, and then it just readjusted itself. Like, you guys' pictures on my Skype, whatever, have adjusted over and over. Like, watch. If I move my mouse, you guys will start freaking out. Like, at all. Like, it readjusts. Like, I can do this.
It's a good time.
Yeah.
Should I move my camera?
No.
Ah!
Yeah, it's not you. It's just, it is what it is. See, now we're just stuck with it. Like I said, it's gonna do that.
Sweet.
I can't see Charmer at all. Like I can see you on your stream, obviously, but not through Skype. I can see Justin.
Yeah, I mean, you won't because OBS hogs the camera.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
So this was, I mean, I think that like in terms of things we need to discuss, new clients number 1, okay? Community in general is number 2, as well as some standout kind of incidents from the last week I think need to be addressed. And number 3, I think we should probably talk about Slay the Spire.
I disagree with you wholeheartedly. Number one thing, according to Justin, Thursday he says number one thing we need to talk about is Dr. Ford.
Oh yeah, I did say that.
No, I think we should talk about Joe because like one, Joe's our guest, and
what's there to talk about?
Well, I don't know that you're one of the best players in the game who routinely finishes high on the ladder, and
there is that.
You're an innovator, and you're funny, and you have a very fantastic beard. I think that needs to be highlighted.
It is nice. Yeah, it is a nice beard.
I'm working toward the Justin beard.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. Joe has great hair too.
Yeah, it's getting close to like a respectable top knot.
Well, thank you guys.
Innovated mid-sort.
So Joe, how did you get into Legends? Let's start there.
It was the summer before last. It was like I was super bored, so I was just flipping through all the free-to-play Steam games and giving each one like 10 or 15 minutes each until one caught my attention. Yeah. And Elder Scrolls was like pretty high up the list. You know, I got through maybe 10 or so before I hit it.
Damn.
I think it was within days of it actually being released on Steam.
Okay.
And I'm not sure what it was about it on that day because I'd never played a card game before or anything. But it just hooked me. I was addicted from day one.
Yeah. I mean, it certainly fits you, right? Because I mean, like Derek said, you've been kicking ass at the game. You made it to QuakeCon where you did great. You got a free trip. You got paid. How has the journey been? What was the journey from, hey, this is a free-to-play game on Steam, I'm going to fuck around with it, to, hey, I'm really good at this game? How long did that take? What was that experience like?
I'm just really competitive, you know, and I made it to like rank 4 my first month or something, and I was really proud. You know, I had absolutely no frame of reference at all. So each month I just tried to do a little better, and I kept watching like Link and other top streamers, and you know, eventually started pushing for number 1, and got addicted to that. You know.
You're saying addicted a lot. I mean, does Legends take up a lot of your time? Too much of your time?
Not nearly too much. A while back, yeah. Not so much anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, it's much less of a time commitment now than it used to be to achieve the same stuff, which I'm happy about.
Okay. Is that the result of more consistent wins, or are you like learning to temper your investment, you know, time wise, or what is it? Yeah,
I think I've just gotten better at laddering efficiently. You know, like concede efficiency is the big meme with me, right? Always
right.
The key to going higher rank is to lose more games faster, you know. But
Yeah.
there are tons of tiny stuff you can do more efficiently to ladder, you know. Um, and I think I've just gotten a little better at each and every one every month, and it's a lot easier than it used to be for me.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
So I can't help but say, hey, Maricon, welcome. We love you, like always.
Yes,
And
glad to have you here.
I also need to point out that he said when he was getting started, he watched, Link and, other top players and did not say Justin or Derek in that same sentence.
I watched a lot of you, Charmer. I did not watch any Justin, I'm sorry to say. I didn't discover him until way later. I'm glad I did eventually, but yeah, I did watch a lot of Charmer. And my first deck I really committed to was your Time to Fight.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I loved it.
Yeah, I still stand by. I think that was a little underrated at the time. Like, I don't think it
Yeah.
was like a top tier deck, but I think that it was better than a lot of people gave it credit for.
When by the time Joe started playing Legends, I was already in retirement.
That makes sense. I watched a lot of Bradford Lee too back then. You were the three. It was Link and Charmer and Bradford Lee.
Right on.
That's a quality group.
Did you know that Twitch drops killed Bradford Lee's streaming career?
I'm intimately aware. Yeah.
I was gonna try to move on from that quickly. So, it's not just that you perform well on the ladder, right? But clearly you do well in tournaments. I know I've said in the past that playing in tournaments is really different from playing on the ladder. Would you agree with that? And if so, like, how do you attack them, the same or differently, from your viewpoint?
It's just completely different, yeah. And Ian, actually, I wasn't really as aware as I became once Ian told me, but I was succeeding on ladder like long before I was succeeding in tournaments. I would get a couple rounds in, back when I was doing much better on ladder. And there's a lot of small decisions that are only relevant in tournaments, like what deck you ban and what deck you lead with. And, if you know who's going to be in the tournament, you can scout out your competition and have a good idea of what you're most likely to face and stuff. Where ladder is like even the average mentality of your opponent is obviously much lower, and you can get them to make plays that you can't convince a tournament opponent to do because they know that you're thinking that.
Do you think that knowing what most tournaments right now, they have that format where like you get to see your opponent's deck lists, right? Because of the ban formats and so forth. Do you think that knowing what's in your opponent's decks also changes or shapes the way that you play in a tournament versus on a ladder?
Oh yeah, totally. I don't think as much for me as I've heard some of the other tournament players talk about. There have been a lot of rounds where I'm so familiar with, especially when we're in a content draw like we are right now. I'm so familiar with specific decks and types within the classes that I don't need to have the list up. Obviously, if you go against like Betamax, you study it on every turn.
Or like a Karakanzul who
exactly.
loves his ones and twos of his silver bullets.
He's so frustrating to play against because like every turn I'm like, so I'm completely fucked if he has his one of whatever.
Yeah.
But you can't play around a one of whatever out of a 75 card deck, and he usually has it. He's got his freaking Viper every time.
Yeah, I feel like that,
Mm-hmm.
So what are you playing right now, Joe? Just out of curiosity.
Not much at all. I've said to people that
I mean like right now because I can hear the clicks.
Oh, I'm just clicking through our subreddit.
Oh, okay. I thought you were.
Yeah,
it
sorry.
sounded
Is it
like you were
annoying?
playing a game, and I was like, "Oh, what are you playing right now, man?"
Oh, that'd be so rude. I'm sorry.
No, that's not rude. Are you kidding me? Justin plays
If I'm
stuff
playing
like
a
this all
game,
the time. I'm surprised
well,
Justin's not
Justin's
playing
rude.
Slay the Spire now. If his arms weren't crossed, if his arms weren't crossed, I would swear to God he'd be playing Slay the Spire right now.
Look, it's still early in the show. We'll get
I'd
to
be
that
watching a
point.
stream or something.
If I didn't have to do this weird screen capture thing, like I'd probably be playing right now. Like I'll be honest. Turn the sound all the way off and play Legends or Artifact or whatever.
I'm trying to think of the most ridiculous things I've done during the podcast. I definitely, for the last 2 weeks, have been playing Slay the Spire during the show. I have... What else have I done? Oh, I played a Heroes of the Storm game once, which was great. Yeah. It's pretty good times.
Yeah, this is why Joe is going to be the new co-host. He's already got the beard coming. He's attentive.
He's working on that beard
That's
efficiency.
protege. I gotta get a vape. Yeah.
I was reaching for my vape, but now I'm self-conscious about it. God damn it, dude. Shit.
Joe is body paint away from replacing you.
Makes sense. Well, but I will say, like, one of the reasons I think Joe is such a beloved community figure is you have this great sense of humor about you, right? And it seems like a lot of the top players are pretty serious about this, and are pretty. I don't know what the exact way to describe it is, but there's a type, right? The type that excels at chess.
Yeah. Arrogant, conceited, asshole. No, I'm just kidding. I love you, Will. I see you in chat.
Fuck. But I'm just saying,
I know what you mean. There's an intensity to him.
Joe seems like a bro, and I like this. Like, I feel like Joe and I could kick it sometimes. I mean, it's nice.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair too, right? Like, and I don't mean that as a bad thing. That's just me joking around, right? Like, but there is like a contemplativeness or an intensity to a lot of the people who are top players. They're very much, very always analytical. And we're not saying that you're not like that, Joe, but we are saying that if you were to say like, hey, let's go LARP tomorrow, I would be like, yeah, that seems like a Joe thing to do. And I'm willing to do that with Joe.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to Will. Like, we'll get to you. We have we are going to talk about you actually later on.
He gave us plenty to talk about, didn't he?
We'll get there because we still need to talk about this new client, this client refresh, right? Like, this is something we've been. I mean, Derek and I first played the new client 5 months ago now.
Yeah, roughly it was May because it was just before E3.
And we've known that this was going to happen for a long time.
Yeah.
And now that it's finally here, I'm just going to go ahead and start us off by saying it did not meet the expectations that I had set for it.
I'll just go ahead and say that it was exactly what I thought it would be.
Yeah, well, let me clarify for those of you who may not know Derek very well. His Twitter is full of suicide memes.
Listen, I believe in, setting proper expectations. I believe in always preparing for the worst, right? You hope for the best, but you prepare for the worst. I also, here's the thing, I've got over a decade in IT and software development, and I teach, computer programming at a college local nearby. So when I first learned about what Sparky Pants was going to be attempting to do and the time frame that they were trying to do it, I knew there's a reason why last week's podcast I said, hey guys, if you're thinking there won't be bugs, there's going to be bugs. There's a reason why I've been saying it on stream for a month. I've been trying to say it on Reddit here and there. I was trying to set proper expectations because again, it's probably just because of my career and my industry experience, but what they were trying to do in the time frame that they were trying to do it, I just knew that this was coming. This does not surprise me. I've been saying for at least a month now that what you should judge them on is how fast they fix things, not what the initial build was. And I stand by that.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, obviously I don't know shit about programming. What I can say is that well, let's start with the bright stuff. Today had a huge fucking list of bug fixes, right? There was a lot of stuff that was fixed today. Now, I have to admit, I haven't noticed any of those fixes in the games that I've played tonight. But it suggests to me that, hey, they're working on Saturdays, they're busting their ass on this. And I will say, too, just calling back to the first time we touched the new client, the progress made between when we played it in May and now is... there's no comparison.
Yeah. I mean,
No comparison
we
at all.
can't talk about specifics, but if you go back and listen to us talking about the old one, we very jovially, usually with laughter, say like, yeah, there were some weird things we ran into,
Yeah.
because it was really buggy back then, and
Right. And to go from unplayable basically in May, I think it's fair to say, right? Like I don't think we could complete a game in May. To where we're at now, impressive.
yeah, and I do want to. So I want to talk about something here real quick, right? So like when we played this in May, it was significantly worse than the version now. But the thing that stood out to me then, and the reason that I've had faith in Sparky since then, and I will continue to do so until they give me a reason not to, is when we played on that version in May, the small group of us that got to go to Bethesda headquarters, they did not try to defend the state of the game at that point at all. They pulled out a notebook, like Andrew and Peter were there. They pulled out a notebook. They sat down next to everybody at every workstation and they took notes. Like,
Yeah, that is true.
Feverishly took notes. If you had a bug, they were like, okay, great. Let me know how you did that. They were attentive. They were eager. They didn't try to say like, oh, well, like there was no sugarcoating it with them. And they were responsive then. And, again, like from just the way that they reacted and being open, that was what had left me with the best impression and hope at that time. You can tell that they want to get it right, and every version that I've played has been better, right?
Yeah.
Is it where we would like it to be? No, I'm not going to pretend like that is the case. Is it a great first impression? No, but it's also not the first impression they wanted to give. I think if you would ask Peter or Andrew or even CVH, if you were to ask them, hey, is this what you wanted to deliver? I think they'll all say no, but there are deadlines and timelines that just had to be met.
Yeah.
I typed something up as a reply on Reddit recently where I had basically said, like, listen, this isn't ideal, but I truthfully, there's a couple of things I want to address here, and I'm trying to not monologue too much, and I'm trying to make it through this without yelling at people. The first thing I want to say is that I think if you do any sort of honest self-reflection about the state of Legends and what we all thought it was capable of doing and capable of being as a game and where it was at, something had to change for us to achieve what we all felt it could be, right? We all knew that there were lots of cool features that we wanted. We want tournament modes, but even more so, we wanted customization. We want cool new avatars and new game boards and more than one game board so we can select between them. And, all these things. Like, Elder Scrolls as a franchise is the sort of game where, like, it's supposed to be something that you play the way you want to play it, right? There's an identity to it. There's a reason you can spend half hour in a character builder on Skyrim. And Legends, I think, should mimic that, and I think it was capable of getting there, but it wasn't getting there for whatever reason. Again, I love Americon and a lot of the other developers that I've talked to from Direwolf. I don't know what the deal was there, but it wasn't getting there. And at some point, you have to shoot the hostage. Like, that's what I put on Reddit, right? It's the old speed thing. At some point, to do the right thing, you have to shoot the hostage to get there, and I think that's kind of what happened. But the other thing that I want to touch on, because I've seen a lot of it, is people very vocally saying, I hate the new look, and we never asked for this change. And you're right. I would dare say the majority of the community probably liked the old look, but there's a reason for that. You're the people who stuck around. You're the people who looked at the current look and said, I'm okay with this, and hence you stuck around. But I'm not worried about the people who stuck around. I'm worried about all the people who tried it and left because the old one was fucking bland. The number one thing, if you played this game back in open beta when this thing first launched, the number one complaint, we used to have daily posts on our Reddit saying, this is boring. This is bland. I hate brown. Like, this is something that looked like a cardboard box, fucked a manila envelope, and gave birth to a scroll. Right? Like... and that's a problem. So even though we liked it, of course we liked it. We stuck around. We love the game. But if we want this thing to grow, if we want this to be the community that we want it to be, like, then you have to offer something else, right? It's about all the people who came and left as much as it is about us who stuck around. So, Bethesda knows. They know the number of people who try and then go somewhere else, right? We don't, but they do. And we've been hearing for a while now that, like, new player retention and new player acquisition is really important to them. So, like, yeah, I get it. You guys didn't ask for this to change, but we want more people to play our game. And the number one complaint we used to get back then was, this is boring. We would like to see it spruced up. So, like, again, like, I'm sorry, but... And I'll be honest, like, I thought it was boring. Like, I stuck around because I think the game is awesome. I think people like, Maricon developed and designed a fantastic game to play, but I wasn't playing this because I liked the game board.
I will, if you don't mind me chiming in here, Mr. Monologue.
Hold on, I gotta mute Justin real quick.
I finished the Slay the Spire run while you're fucking talking. But no, in all seriousness, I too stuck around for the last 2.5 years because, I stuck around in the beginning because the game was fucking awesome. It's well designed, mechanics are great, it's a perfect mix of all the things I would want in a card game, and it's still the best digital card game I've ever played. Paper one too, I guess, to be honest with you, because I like it more than Magic. Although the Warcraft TCG is pretty sweet. But anyway, and now I continue to stick around because of the community, right? But yeah, I too, like there have been times where I've come close to quitting, and for me, it wasn't how boring the board looked or whatever. It was the content droughts. And so now I'm excited that allegedly we're going to be getting more regular content. How you doing, Joe?
I'm great, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm fired up. Derek's
Yeah,
passion got to me.
I was kind of in the same position as Justin, like when the new client first dropped, where my expectations were just way too high, and I don't have any experience with obviously this kind of I don't even play in betas ever. But unlike Justin, I actually did think it was much, much better after the patch today, which instilled a lot of hope for me personally, and I'm excited for the future now.
To be clear, I've only played 3 games, and they were with Dwemer Battle Mage, so I wasn't interacting with a lot of the cards that changed.
Yeah, I mean, we got a patch pretty quickly with no downtime, right? And
That was awesome,
I know that the next patch is already being worked on. So like they're trying to come quick. I also know that there were some like very quick hot fixes even before the big patch that were sneaking in. Because I would see assets updating here or there, and I know like Zombie Hunter and a few other people on my Discord were saying the same thing. So, but again, like I kind of expected this. I knew this was coming. I've been saying for a while, like there's gonna be bugs with what they're trying to do, and in a year's worth of time, is kind of ridiculous in and of itself. So there's going to be bugs, but judge it by how fast they fix it. If there's a large portion of the player base that are still unable to play it due to bugs or compatibility issues or whatever,
I'll be honest.
For an extended period, then that's a problem. But
I'll be honest, I still can't play on mobile.
Really?
Yeah, I can't even get the client to update.
I can't either, actually.
Wow. Yeah. I guess I'm on a Galaxy 7, like not even the Edge, and I didn't have any problems.
I have an S Note 8 or whatever, like a nice new fucking phone, and it won't do anything.
Weird. Like I had not only did I have no problems with it, but when I'm playing at lunch on work, I think that things are like snappier for me. I kind of enjoy playing on the mobile a bit, but
I mean, I'm looking forward to it too. Like playing on the mobile, between clients I see at work has been like a staple of my life for quite a while now. So I need my solo arena back. But yeah. And I will say, like, I mean, I don't know that we've ever in the history of Legends had a patch so quickly after like an update. And this was. I always go back to the. There have been a lot of other examples of stuff similar to this, but to the Embassy Disguise Guard thing, where like that lasted like it feels like weeks, to the point where I even posted on Twitter like, "Hey, I'm not playing the game anymore and releasing any more content until this shit is fixed," because it happened to me twice. And I'm like, this is the most goddamn annoying thing that's ever happened to me in this game.
Yeah, that was also when Bone Colossus was bugged, and there was a couple other things, and I did not play during that.
Yeah.
I feel like that was about a 2-week period, because I don't think I started playing till halfway through the month on that.
Yeah. It's good times.
Kassedin had fun.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Yeah, he did.
Were you as disappointed as I was, Joe, when Kassedin wasn't able to make it to QuakeCon?
Yeah, part of me wanted him not to go, and part of me wanted to see him there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying,
Yeah.
dog. I actually had a conversation with Santos Vela beforehand where I was like, "What's up, man?" He's like, "I got you."
Yeah. Because it's kind of weird that, his offenses were bad enough to not be able to participate in one series of tournaments, but he's about to be flown to another country to attend the biggest tournament.
Yeah.
But
this kind of an opportunity to segue actually to another kind of like Legends community topic, right? Like how do we as a community react when members of the community and Kassedin, for as much as he's kind of a punchline, like is like the Russian face of Legends, right?
Yeah, I would say it's like him or Aquaman, who I really like Aquaman.
Aquaman's Ukraine, though.
Oh, is he? Damn.
Yeah.
I mean, if Putin has his way, that'll be part of Russia soon. But
I would say Kassedin or Aini. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Aini. I always forget Aini's
that's
Russian
fair.
too. I like
Yeah,
Aini.
Yeah, Aini's pretty cool. But yeah, like what? So I'll just throw it out there, right? Like there was a prominent member of the community who said some things that maybe they shouldn't have said, and the community itself has been kind of, I don't know, that the Reddit thread about it's pretty vicious. You guys have thoughts? Nice. You guys want to go back to talking about how the old client doesn't work?
I mean, it's not particularly surprising. Like, I don't mean any offense in anything I'm going to say, but
Yeah.
He's kind of shown a lack of social awareness in a lot of stuff that he said, and this just happened to be a particularly severe one. And I know that he wasn't trying to be offensive to anyone. I know that.
Yeah.
I mean, listen. Again, maybe it's just because I have like low expectations, but just like the client, I'm not surprised, and I'm not surprised by how everything went. And here's why. This person who did this is young, and I've had this discussion with Justin, right? Because Justin and I we're very, very similar. I'm a little less vocal about it at times, but we bond because we're both addicts. I just don't talk about it a lot, and we bond over a lot of things. And one of the things that I was talking to him when we were in California together was that, I used to be a raging racist when I was younger, right? Like hard.
So we're clear. So we're clear. My parents were hippies, and I didn't have this problem.
This is not something we share in common. But I grew up in a trailer park, poor. My brother is 10 years older than me and used to hang out with neo-Nazis. And when you're an impressionable young dude, you do stupid shit. And well into my teens and even early 20s, I did a lot of dumb racist stuff, right? It's not great to admit. I'm certainly not proud of it. And I try to be better about it now. But, when you are young, it is very easy to not see that even when there is a lack of intent that things can be hurtful, right? Like one of the big things for me that I remember when I was younger is I would be like, well, words only carry weight if the other people let it bother them, right? That's a pretty common thing. And I guess there's some technicality there, some truth there. Words are a social construct and blah, blah, blah. They're really just sound vibrations moving through the wind, and how you choose to interpret them is onto you. Whatever, right? We all rationalize in different ways, but the truth was, I was just an asshole. But I didn't understand it back then. And I'm not saying that gives this person a pass, right? We all have to learn our lessons in harsh ways. But I'm not surprised by it, and I'm not surprised that the reaction was vicious, because it kind of should be, if I'm being honest, right? Rightfully so. If you do stupid shit, you win stupid prizes. That's what it comes down to in my mind. So I can only just say that I hope all parties involved learn from it and allow other people to learn from it, and that we understand that it's not acceptable moving forward, and that's it, right? Like,
First of all, the stupid prizes thing, that's genius. I love that, and I'm stealing that, and I'll be using that and claiming that I made it up on my own. So, thank you for
fair.
that.
I didn't make it up. It's a common colloquialism, but yeah,
Justin made it up.
But I will.
Justin made it up. Yeah.
Yeah, I made that up. Yeah, I go way back. But sorry. Now I'm thinking about how ridiculous I am, and I can't stop laughing. But yeah. So I was thinking about this. Like, so for instance, like I have a job pretty completely removed from my Legend stuff as you can possibly get, but my executive deputy director watches my YouTube videos, right? And we're friends, and like I know that part of it's because he's a gamer too, right? But like I also am aware that like because I work for a grant-funded nonprofit, that like if I was to say something like that, I would be fired immediately. Like overnight, I would not come into the office, right? Now that said, like I totally agree with you that I don't think there was any malicious intent there. I think it was just sort of, again, a lack of social awareness. I think, like Joe said, is pretty clutch. I think he's a good man, honestly, having spent time with him in person and online. And I personally believe he deserves a second chance. I'm going to go ahead and say that too. And I also agree that the community response was, for the most part, appropriate. Some of it drifted into like not helpful, just sort of ad hominem attacks and name calling and stuff. But
for Reddit, just not helpful is actually pretty.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like the reaction to the new client, right? There was a lot of deserved stuff, and there was a lot that was incredibly not helpful. Which also, let me just throw this out here real quick. Hey fuckers using Reddit, use the search function. You're killing me. I don't need 10 posts about the same thing. Like,
you realize that like I think I have more posts on our subreddit than almost anyone else, and I didn't know until you physically showed me that you could sort by new on Reddit.
Yeah, well, I'm just telling you, all right? Like, I told you, I'm trying to make it through this without yelling at people.
Fuck, dude, I didn't know there was a Reddit.
Well.
I didn't know there was a Reddit. I didn't know there was a Reddit app until you showed me. I still don't use it. Yeah. But yeah, look, I mean, gaming is going to be full of people. Like, by its nature, like, I think that, and this is changing, I guess. Maybe I'll sound old here, but like, gaming seems to appeal more to people who didn't have anything better to do in high school. And for the most part, those are sort of socially awkward people, right? And card gaming is sort of like the most gamey of gaming things you can do, except maybe like, I don't know, you can play Shadowverse, that like porn card game. But like, and so it makes sense that there's going to be like a collection of like vaguely like socially awkward people, right? And I think that that's okay. I mean, everybody needs a place to be. And I think that the community in general with Legends is very positive and supportive. And I think that if we see growth from people who make mistakes like this, we should embrace them. And it goes back to Kassedin, right? Like, Kassedin has been an asshole in every conversation I've ever seen him have, right? And I don't think that that's what we can expect from what happened the other day. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a good thing. It sounds like he's really taking what at least the constructive people said to heart, and he's going to try to fix it.
I agree.
Especially compared to how unapologetic he seemed like in the spur of the moment. He's seemed much better in the days since then.
Yeah, I mean, that's a natural thing. Again, I am not going to give a pass, but I will say that it is a very natural thing when people give you some criticism to get defensive immediately. Like, even if deep down you know you're wrong, right? It's like when you get caught lying and you're like, I'm not lying, and you get all indignant or whatever, but like deep down you know, yeah, I'm being the fucker right now. So
Sweet. I've already decided that I want Joe to come back for another episode. Well, you know how like we have some people on the podcast, and you're like afterwards, like you're like that was pretty cool, and then you're kind of exhausted. I've already decided that Joe needs to come on again.
I'm already looking forward to it, man.
Sweet. We have a very short list of people who have returned. Who's been on the show twice? Christian's been on 3 times. Ray Barker's been on 3 times, I think.
No, he's been on twice.
Twice. I like him. I like that. Ray Barker's a good person.
I don't remember if Ian's been on twice or not. It's a really small list, but
I think Ian's been on twice.
yeah. I know coming up here soon, we're hoping to get Arkham Warlock on to talk about his survey results.
Yes. Shout out to Arkham Warlock for discovering that Derek and I have a price that we can be bought.
You can buy your way onto the podcast. Nickel Queen has expressed some desire to be on. I think she would be a pretty awesome addition.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I know, it was mine.
Joe, so you're a funny guy. You like your trolling.
I do.
Would you like to be involved in some kind of elaborate meme video with Derek and I?
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Sweet. We'll be in touch after the show.
All right. Sounds good, man.
Yeah, my cat is a guest every week, Ragnak. That's right.
That was another thing, actually, that got me really addicted to the game, was the community around the game and the rapport that I built with people through Twitch, which I only started using for drops, so I'm grateful those existed.
Wow, you're one of those unicorns, huh, that drops actually worked on?
The only reason I ever came to Twitch in the first place, and now it's, essentially my homepage.
That's amazing. So, that's what's up, dude.
So thanks to Lazy Gamer, specifically.
Oh, man. You guys remember a couple minutes ago when I was talking about how I wanted Joe to be back on the show?
I just burnt that bridge.
No, actually, I've been trying to get Derek for like almost a year now to have Lazy Gamer on as a guest. I get shot down.
Did you talk to him at all?
No, truth. No, we need to back this up. Every time Justin has said, I want to have Lazy Gamer on, I've said, okay. Every time. I've never once shot this fucker down. Don't you dare, Justin. It's just I leave it up to you to contact him and then you back out.
Yeah, it would seem sarcastic. I've met him in person. He's really nice.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
Yeah. So, okay, we know officially that they've said that Multitudes of Madness,
Single Isle,
Archipelago of Madness, is going to be coming in Q4, right? And Q4 begins in 2 days. That's right. It starts in October.
Yes.
Expansion in 2 days confirmed. Can I make the Reddit thread?
Yeah, fuck.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and just publicly say, I know I'm breaking NDA by revealing this, but it will not be in 2 days.
Shit,
I will break NDA to set that expectation. You are not getting an expansion in 2 days. In fact, I'll even go as far as to say until you see, I don't know, like card reveals or something, you should probably not be expecting it because they will go through the normal PR stuff.
But, Joe, I'm looking at you here. What does this game need? Give me some fantasy cards that would radically shift the meta.
Oh man, I can't help you there, man. I have no the other card game experience. It's a base. Even when people ask for, actually just that, I get asked that quite a bit, and I just tell them I would need to play some other games for a decent amount of time, and maybe merge some of my favorites.
I think that, so if you're talking about stuff that would like shift the meta, I've been thinking about this a while. I think that, not that I think Control needs help, but I think that some sort of support that starts punishing people for multiple creatures entering play at the same time or in the same turn would be an interesting thing. Specifically like a defensive Haunted Manor is the way I think about it. So like the first creature is fine. The second one, maybe it gets -1/-1. The third one gets -2/-2, something like that. So that it's like a preemptive conscription punishment or swarm punishment. Now I think you have to cost it appropriately. I don't think it can be cheap, right? So that your early token decks aren't like immediately shut down. But if something like that costs like 5 or 6, and it was something you could tech in maybe against conscription, I think it would be potentially interesting. I also think that similarly, like if you're going to help out control the aggro, I think aggro needs some tools that aren't just draw more cards and Witherhand Cultist, because those just aren't interesting. Like they're effective, but they're not interesting. So I'd like to see something opened up there as well. I think more in all honesty, I think more cards in the vein of Fiery Imp could be interesting for aggro. Stuff that like just reward you for attacking by pushing extra damage in, right? So like the equivalent of trample, so like we have breakthrough obviously, but maybe that's it, right? Maybe you just up the breakthrough, something, right? I think that both of those could use some help. I think mid-range is actually in a decent spot right now. I think it could maybe get a little bit of help, but I know that it's got help coming, so...
Yeah, I specifically didn't ask you this question, Derek. I was asking Joe.
The extent of my creativity would be like, a unique legendary version of Ash Berserker, where if you have something with 4 power, you draw 2 cards every turn or something.
It sounds like you want to design Hearthstone cards.
I'll have to check it out.
Elindria says Tribunal needs a new win con. Look, Tribunal decks shouldn't run win cons in general. Run 60 removal spells and just wait till your opponent concedes. I
will be honest, I would like to see some more cards with like decent last gasp effects make it around again, because like let's be honest,
yeah.
Sower is like the only one that has a big impact. I'm not saying there aren't other ones that are good, but when it comes to like impactful ones, it's like that and like Black Hand Messenger. Like,
are you familiar with Balmora Spymaster?
This is why we're not friends. No, I think back to like when it was just the core set, and there was actually a time where like teching in Deshin Avenger was correct because it survived Ice Storm, right? Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I'd like to see that get a little bit more support.
Balmori wants a card that makes every card in your opponent's deck into a random card of the same cost 0. Kinsman is tremendous value and like oddly unplayable. I've been playing actually with it quite a bit lately because in 2 different decks. I built a Last Gasp Assassin deck that I've been recording with, and I have spent some time recording with a like Assassin Burn deck. I mean, like not like I actually put much brain power into it, but like I did some math, and like there's enough burn, like just straight up reach cards now in Assassin that like you should be able to kill somebody by turn 8 just by drawing them naturally, right? And so I've been playing House Kinsman in there, and in both of them, and it's not a bad card. It's not a bad card.
It turns out it's actually pretty good when you combine it with that, like what is it, Blood Sacrament or whatever.
Yeah, Blood Sacrament's in there.
Yeah.
That's a good.
Yep. That's a good 7 to the face with Drain.
Mm-hmm. I do worry though that like every time I beat someone with a Prophecy Ransack, they uninstall the game, and that's one fewer viewer I have.
I literally published a video today that I lost to a Prophecy Ransack.
Were they playing Assassin?
They were playing Prophecy Assassin, and they hit their 4th Prophecy in the row, and they ransacked my creature to prevent lethal.
Actually, now that you mention that, I watched that video. It was your Halalu video.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny.
I've been there, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a time when Prophecy Assassin was like one of the boogeymen.
Yeah. Action Assassin, Prophecy Assassin, Goblin Assassins. There've been a lot of great assassin decks over like the last couple of years of Legends. There's not really a great assassin. I mean, there's that what people are calling the Tempo Assassin deck that's not bad right now, but there's nothing. I feel like Assassin doesn't have anything interesting going on. Is that fair to say?
I mean, not if you're talking about competitive level. I still think Ultra Assassin's fun.
Yeah, Ultra Assassin's great. I mean new and interesting.
I think Joe Assassin is fun.
That's whatever Burn makes. We just call it Joe Assassin.
Ooh. Ironically, that was a sick burn.
Baron Zaya just got her premium buffed. So that has some going for it.
Oh, yeah? All right, I'll save up and craft it finally.
Doesn't look good, but it's something. It used to be basically nothing. It was like some sunlight in her eyes or something.
Mm-hmm.
When's Iron going to get the treatment?
I know. It's so bad, and it's such a good card. And Emmerich, too. Those are the two.
Emmerich needs to get buffed so that he's like winking or something, right? Just for the High King Emmerich guys. Like that one just needs something extra memey and special in my mind.
I would love to see, like, and maybe this is too close to like vanity cards, but like I think that we deserve as a community, like, we have the Dapper Defender, the Hive Defender with the nice jacket and the wine cup. I think we need a alternate art Hiking Emmerich that somehow gives a shout out to those guys' work.
I think we need one as well that's whatever the opposite. I don't even know the name of the card. This is how bad it is. But the 6/3 with breakthrough Hive thing needs to become Hive Offender. Like they just need they need to rename it, do an alternate art for it.
Yeah.
Some new voice lines by a specific someone.
Hey man, last week on this show, I said that I would, or maybe it was on my own stream. I don't know. Now that I actually use Twitch, it's hard to remember. But I said I would be willing to revoice every card in the game for $20. I'm totally willing to do that. Sandra says, "Tell Joe I say hi. I'm watching your stream. What a god." What the hell?
Hi, Sandra.
You want to know what my favorite thing is? So before we went live, this is 100% a true story. Before we went live, we were having tech issues we were trying to sort out. I mean, we're still kind of having them, right? And while Joe couldn't hear us, Justin's like, all right, guys, I got to go take care of something. I'll be right back. So he stands up and he walks to basically where the door is that you can kind of see behind him. And what he had to take care of was just yelling through the house. He's just screaming, Sandra! Sandra! I love you! I love you! I just needed to say that! I don't need anything! No, I just love you!
Oh,
Fuck off, dude.
Right? 100% true, I swear to God. Did nothing else. Went to the door, yelled, Sandra, I love you, like 5 times, and then came back and sat down.
I'm even more disappointed now that I couldn't hear anything.
Oh, god damn it, dude. God damn. Look, man. I've only been married for 4 months. It's still great.
Listen, I've been married for over a decade and it's still great.
Yeah.
For me,
That's
not her.
Yeah, I was worried about the Joe effect on her. Yeah, it's true. I was preemptively like making sure she remembered that we were married.
Listen, when I said Joe was taking over as the co-host, I meant in all phases of your life, Justin.
Fuck. Howdy, folks. Joe here.
Any minute now, we're gonna see Celine walking behind him on camera, like meow.
Fuck. That's funny.
All right, so we're past the hour mark, so Fire Drake's, I guess, gonna just start right off with the questions. So I think we should transition to that. Let's do the interactive part. Fire Drake's coming in hot with, what do you think of the idea of having a ladder where you can play all 3 possible color combinations and another ladder where it's 2 color only?
Yeah,
Oh,
Sounds awesome to me. I'll take as much ladder buffs as I can get.
So my concern there would be, I'll get closer to the mic. People are saying I'm quiet, but I leaned back because I was yelling. My concern with that would be that you'd like split the player base. right? If you have two ladders, then you got people playing on two different ladders. My other concern is that I don't want to play against Ramp Scout that has Unstoppable Rage. And I don't want to play against Battle Mage that has Sower. Or Sorcerer that has Sower. However you want to put that.
That's fair. I'm not interested in like splitting the ladder in any way, to be honest.
Warlock says keyboard ASMR. Yeah, the keyboard sounds are kind of loud today, but again, we're not using the normal like software because we had tech issues, and so everything is out of whack. I'm sure my volume's out of whack. Cameras are out of whack. I apologize, but this is what we had to do to get Joe on, and once we got Joe on and working, we were like, we're not touching anything. Don't jinx it. Don't disconnect. So...
Yeah,
I'm barely even breathing, man.
Yeah.
People explained to me on my stream the other day what ASMR was, and so I leaned forward into the mic and did my Antonio Banderas accent for a while. It's beautiful. Beautiful. It's one of the accents Santa doesn't let me do.
Yeah. All right, so if people want to fire in questions, now's your time. And again, we can talk about anything. We can talk about the client refresh. We can talk about Joe.
Yep.
Shady pasts.
This is the interactive part. Oh yeah, we can talk about prison and shit too.
Mouse clicks. All right, so we got... do you think there is a huge polarization in viability and deck strength between 2-color and 3-color decks? And if so, how do you fix it?
It's not as bad as it will be as no more cards are printed. That's my official statement on it.
Yeah, I think my statement would be... I don't think that it's polarized as much as people make it seem. It's just that the reason that most people want to run the 3-color decks is because they're capable of high rolling better, right? Decks like Warrior and to some extent like even, you know, Aggro Crusader or Midrange Sorcerer, I think are still very solidly consistent. Like I know what I'm getting out of them and they perform consistently. But they don't offer the ability to just like draw the right card at the right time the way that the 3-color decks do. And so I think that's why it feels like those decks are so much more powerful, because then when they do that, when they do draw that right card at the right time, it's a big swing and like it just feels better for you, the person playing the deck, and it feels worse for the person playing against it. And so I don't think it's as polarized as it gets the rap for, but I don't know what you do to tackle it going forward without specifically designing stuff for class-based decks, 2-color decks. Whether it's to make them a little more high-rolly or, you know, make it less consistent if they're included in the 3-color decks. More stuff like the allies or things that reward you for playing just the classes, I think is the right way to go.
Man, I was playing Dwemer, like I said earlier today, and like Mechanical Ally is like, I just think it's the perfect card.
It's really good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
really good.
Dwemer is like playing a 3-color deck in a 2-color body, because Dwemer is the archetype that when it high rolls, man, you feel unstoppable, right? Like when you curve perfectly into halls,
Feels good.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
I've never played a game of all neutral.
Not even just all neutral, just like the token Dwemer with even some class cards thrown in or whatever. Like I played against a Dwemer spell sword that curved perfectly on me, and they were, I don't know, like 50 something at the time. So like they were in the top 100 with it, and it was a terrifying experience. Like they rolled right over me, and there was nothing I could do. If you don't have a good board sweep before that halls comes down, they will outrace you.
Yeah.
And Michaela's done pretty well in Warped over the past couple months with Dwemers.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I said, it just feels really high rolly. If you can, like on turn 5, or when you're at 5 Magicka, however you want to put it, whether you're on the ring or not, like if you go Mechanical Ally and Steam Constructor in the Shadow Lane and they don't have an answer for that, and you drop Halls next turn, it's a huge swing.
Yeah, you win.
Not counting like anything else you've done for the rest of the game, right?
Yeah.
Dwarven Dynamo is a really powerful card. Like, I dig it.
Dwarven Dynamo is actually, I would go so far as to say, one of the strongest cards in the game.
Oh, see, the cameras are going to freak out because I'm clicking over to see the questions, but...
In fact, I feel like I actually said this before, but I feel like we're only a couple Dwemer away from it being like a really competitively strong deck.
I mean, I think it's competitively strong now. It's not like tier 1, but I think it's completely competitively strong. I mean, some people thought it was strong enough to bring to the Master Series, you know?
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, so we've got Ian Bits. Do you think if Joe streamed more than once a month, then every Tesla streamer would have to stop due to competition? Yes, I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah, Joe's the whole package.
That's why I don't. It's pretty good.
Thanks, bro. And he's got the personality, the skill. Yeah, right. It's like they took the best parts of Derek and I, and put it in a good-looking body.
Oh God, I'm gonna start blushing.
So, solid question here. Zombie Hunter 9x19 says, what do you guys think the possible damage done to the game was from people just complaining the game sucked because of the way the client looked?
Oh, potentially immense.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. What about you, Joe?
I think it's pretty substantial. Yeah, if I had tried out the game for the first time where it was like before this patch, even probably as it is right now, I wouldn't play a second time.
Yeah. I guess for me, I took that question as, what do you think the damage was done from the complaining? Like, the complaining itself, I don't think did any damage. The people who already had an initial reaction to the client that was negative, they've already had that feeling. Seeing a bunch of other complaining is just like an echo chamber at that point. It's not doing anything to change their mind. And for the people who were okay with it, I don't think that they were like okay with it and then they read a million Reddit threads and were suddenly not okay. I think your decision was already made up one way or the other. So, like, I think that the event itself has like potential long-term damage, sure, but I don't think that the complaining was just a giant echo chamber and people giving themselves free Reddit karma, as far as I'm concerned.
As a guy
I don't think the complaining was that bad, personally.
Yeah, I was both day 1 super sad and crushed by how vocal the complaining was, and then day 2 and 3 very happy with how quickly it had subsided. I just think that like Joe said, you're not retaining any new players right now. I mean, go to Steam and look at recent reviews, right? Like,
mm-hmm. Yeah, it's nasty.
It's not good.
But I mean, I'll be honest, like, we've been through periods like this as well. I think that there's certainly damage that has been done, but maybe I'm just too optimistic. I don't think that it's irreversible, and I think that when things get fixed and things are calmed, CVH has said in the past they are planning a second marketing push. That could be nothing, that could be substantial, but my hope is that when things are fixed, they do the substantial marketing push coinciding with the Isle of Madness launch, and that will bring people back, right? And or bring in new people. I'm more concerned about the new people, to be honest, even if those other people never come back, but I'd like it to also bring people back.
Silverfuse says, let everyone throw a tantrum and let it fizz out, is what Justin Larson did. Yeah, I did something like that, yeah.
Kaniak asks, has there been any discussion as to how they'll bring back drops? Yes.
I can't answer that question.
Yeah, we can answer that question by saying, yes, there's been discussion.
Yeah.
That's about all we can say, sadly.
Drops will come back.
All right, Ian Bits, what do you think the long-term damage is to the game from the period of time where the game is either incredibly bad or inaccessible due to the new client? People downloading this for the first time. So very similar. Yeah, I think that the long-term damage is, again, just going to be related to the people hitting this for the first time right now, and then potentially the people that it drives away. I'll follow this up with I think that the potential biggest source of damage has nothing to do with Legends itself and everything to do with the poor timing. Let's not pretend for a moment that this came at a good time when Gwent is about to essentially relaunch, when MTG Arena is hitting open beta, and with Artifact hitting their first form of their beta in October and full release in November. I think that if it was at any other time in the year, like I think if this happened in June and we had like a bad month and then they like did another content launch and they fixed all the bugs or whatever, I think we were like have an impact, sure, but I think we recover very easily. I think that the biggest potential source of damage is more to do with the timing and other games, if I'm being honest.
I still maintain, like, having played Artifact, and no, and maybe not as much as some other people, but I don't think Artifact is a Legends competitor.
I don't think it's a Legends competitor from a gameplay standpoint, but I think that all the people that play Legends because they like to be competitive, I think they're going to take a really long, hard look at Artifact, sadly. And I say that strictly because, like, let's be honest here, there were a number of very competitive Legends players that left to go play Hand of Hot Garbage for a tiny amount of money, right? And
That's true.
You're kidding yourself if you don't think that Valve is going to throw way more money than Hi-Rez did at their tournament scene. So I think from a gameplay standpoint and the people who like it, I think Artifact competes far more with Magic, but I also think that the money will draw people in.
That's all right. Legends will still be here when they come back, realizing that they are not Life Coach.
Right?
What do you think about Artifact, Joe?
I haven't looked into it too much, but I'll definitely be buying it and trying it day one. I'm excited for that part.
I'll be playing it a few days before day one.
You don't gotta tell me that, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm scrolling through here to get some questions. So, Dust wants me to ask Joe if he has had his stream benefits reward come through yet.
Not even a little bit. No. And the context there is that you guys remember the Elite Circuit? I know Justin casted in Griffin. Yeah. In the original article for that, when they announced it, they said that the winners of the 3 championships would get that Bethesda Stream Team bundle thing, and they'd make graphics for your stream and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And that never, well, so far it still hasn't happened. It's been like 8 months or something.
Fuck.
So I've bothered CVH about it like 3 times, like several months apart.
Have you tried contacting Sean Baptiste by chance?
I haven't, no.
I would consider hitting him up as well.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Just say like, hey, not saying that like CVH can't do it, but Sean is like also on that front, and he might be able to get you some traction.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give that a shot. And Dust was one of the winners too. That's why I was bothering him to see if he ever heard anything.
I think. Wait, didn't Dust ask for a computer? I think he got that.
Yeah, he finally got the computer very recently, actually.
Yeah.
Like I took the cash and I got paid like immediately.
I need to participate in one of these tournaments so my computer will stop blue screening. I also need a laptop really bad, but I didn't realize how bad I needed a laptop till I started doing the Master Series, and I was like out in California, and I wanted to play Legends, and the hotel Wi-Fi is not like kind to your phone out there.
Oh yeah, that's how you ended up playing on my account,
Right.
and playing some of my awesome decks.
Yeah. 100% win rate with, by the way.
Yeah. Joe, did you know that what Spell Sword Tokens has been lacking is Mushroom Tower and Todala's Treachery?
No way. Are you serious?
Absolutely.
I have played it, and I have 100% win rate with it. I can say those
That's right.
things. And
That's
they are
right.
factually true.
You shoot me a list after this podcast is over. I'm taking this to the ladder.
Fuck. Oh man, that's awesome.
Keeping up with the questions, Silverfuse asks us, do you think we will have a pretty decent by the end of the year? I assume they mean decent client, decent
Yes.
something. Sounds...
Decent client, the best expansion we've ever had, and continual patches is what I'm going to say I think we're going to have. I didn't fuck up, right? I can say that.
Sounds good to me, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm scared.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's their goal. It's really hard for me to say definitively, simply because, I mean, that's the nature of programming, man. Like, sometimes you fix something and break two more things. So, I know that it's going to take some time to weed out. I would like to remain optimistic, and say, like, yeah, it'll be good to go here soon. But, you know, one of the things I tell my students when I first start teaching is, there's two phrases during your coding career that you will say more than any other, like hands down. And the first one is, I have no idea why this doesn't work. And the second one is, I have no idea why this works. And I mean, that's coding. So, and my dog is now in here. So sorry about the snoring, guys. It's going to be a thing.
It's all right, man. It's 10:15. You're lucky I'm not snoring.
Yeah, I know.
Joe, where do you live? What time zone are you in?
I live in Washington State, so I'm Pacific.
Nice.
Oh,
All right.
nice.
9:15.
Sweet.
Trying to catch up here on the questions. A lot of active chat. Zombie Hunter says Brad seems to go where the money goes. Drops. Yeah, he does.
Who? What?
It was a joke about Brad. Yeah, man, chat was blowing up. Thank you, guys.
Let's not laugh at the suffering of others.
Unless it's me. No, it's just leave him at this point. It's fine. No, we're good.
He's a good boy.
Later. Grog next says, so we need a GoFundMe to get Charmer a new rig. Then no. I was joking the other day. Somebody was asking about. This was actually in my Discord, and we were talking about like streaming as an actual career, and I was saying that like I did the math once, and in order for me to like, if I was ever gonna truly quit my day job and then like stream and make content full time, I would have to have roughly 3,300 subs on Twitch. Yeah. Right? To match like overall what I make from my day job. That's not even counting like the teaching at night, right? Just like if I wanted to quit my day job and do it full time, I would need 3,300 subs on Twitch. That is so far from obtainable. Like I have 31 right now. Right? So I would need to increase that by like, I don't know, 100-fold, 1,000-fold, whatever it is. Like I don't even have 3,000 YouTube subscribers, and that costs people nothing. So
yeah. Actually, I think that if you want to increase your YouTube numbers, you're gonna have to start paying people. No,
I don't think it's that at all. I think that I just have to have really clickbaity titles, like this guy I know. And
get the fuck out of here, dude.
But anyway, so I mentioned this because I had said in my Discord, like as a joke, that I might add a stream goal or a sub goal on my streams as a joke that says, help me quit my job that has like 3,333 sub points as the goal or whatever. But I was afraid people might take it like the wrong way or as a serious thing. But
That's funny.
Because don't get me wrong, like I would quit my job and make content if I could, but there's just no way that's gonna happen.
Dude, I don't think I would. I would need about 3 times as many subs or views on YouTube as I currently have to think about quitting my job, and I would not be breaking even financially. But I'm not going to do that. I love my job.
Yeah. Shannara asks, are there more than 2 genders? Joe?
Fuck.
Let's take a pass on this one, I think.
Yeah, I'm not answering that question either.
Sure, I'll go ahead and say, yeah, there's absolutely more than 2 genders. There's a bunch of like invertebrates that have no gender technically. If you're talking about like anatomical sex, I'm sure that there are. Listen, statistically, it's probably impossible that there isn't some sort of like alien life on other planets. For all we know, there is a like rainbow of genders. Like I think that personally, I think that it's really hard to just say definitively that there is only 2 genders when scientifically it's almost impossible that there's not more than that. So, I think you're limiting your view of the universe if you think there's only 2.
That's about what I was thinking too. I just couldn't articulate it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, they're all over. It's raining genders.
Look, man, people can do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah, that's my stance too on pretty much everything. Just don't bother other people.
Exactly.
Oh God! Okay. So I was like telling my wife, "Don't show the dog," and now Ian Bits is like, "Hey, can you show the dog?"
Yeah. Ian Bits. Ian, he'll put the dog on camera if you subscribe to him.
Yes, there we go. That's what I'll say. I'll agree. I'll show the dog for subs because you have to remember my audio people. There are some people who listen to just the audio version. They can't see the dog. They could hear him though. If I got him close enough to the mic, it would sound like a lawnmower. But
also, if you subscribe to him, it'll double the number of subs he has. So be a bro.
You're not wrong.
I'm subscribed to you.
King Shugo. That's a fantastic name.
Holy shit!
Oh my God. Ian Bits did just subscribe, so I will show the dog. King Shugo says, "Can we hear your guys' best messed up Ancano voice lines?" Oi, oi.
What does Ancano say now?
I don't remember what the new voice line is.
Somebody type the line out in chat, and I'll do it.
Well, I think the words were the same. It was just a completely different voice.
You want to say hi, oi?
Yeah, I got gifted a sub.
This is why I have that sleeping pug emote on my channel. It's literally for oi.
I have.
I have YouTube videos back when I used to play H1Z1 where I had to put up like stuff like text on the video that say this isn't in-game sound, that's just my dog.
That's funny.
Yeah, I don't know what the new voice line is for Ancano.
I have many important things on my mind.
That's it. That was it.
I have many important things on my mind.
What the unholy fuck was that?
That was the messed up Ancano. He said, "Give me your best messed up Ancano line." So I thought we were supposed to mess it up. No.
Now I've got some other things on my mind.
On your mind, what you have?
I can do Antonio Banderas doing it. Hold on.
All right, so here we got a good question for Mr. Banderas here. Is the very low number of viewers on Twitch an indicator of the people actually playing after the client debacle?
Thank you very much, first of all, for your question. It is of the utmost importance to both me and the community at large. I will begin by saying that as an artist, I struggle every time I see such low numbers in Twitch viewership. It disappoints me greatly to no end to see that people are not taking seriously the great sacrifice artists make on Twitch. That being said, I think it's also important to clarify that the Twitch numbers were artificially inflated by people who are viewing just to gather drops and were not actually viewers. And they now are more accurately reflective upon the community interested in engaging with the sort of artistry that goes on that website. So, in conclusion, I will say this. The Twitch numbers as they exist now are an accurate reflection of the community and are therefore healthier. Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, I think that about sums it up. I really wish that I could like scroll through the questions without it blowing you guys up. The minute I mouse over, like you guys go to normal, and then the minute I come back over here to scroll through questions, you guys like inflate incredibly.
No, that's a Khajiit, yeah.
Oh, here, not necessarily a question, but just Belmiri hitting me here. 6 stages of debugging. That can't happen. That doesn't happen on my computer. That shouldn't be happening. I see the fix. How did that ever work in the first place? Yeah, like, this is somebody who understands. Ian Bits, can we point out how close up on Joe is the best of this podcast? Yeah, again, like it's because we're not using Discord like normal because we couldn't get it to work with Joe, and Skype doesn't want to stay at the small screens, and everything's a tech mess tonight. So I apologize both to my live viewers and to the audio people.
I apologize to those viewers for Charmer as well.
Zombie Hunter says, whenever Justin talks about possible NDA items, I just imagine him saying, I've been to prison and I'm not afraid of going back.
That's fair.
Doc says, I can't imagine a straight-laced guy like Charmer memeing that goddamn hard. Let me be the first one to burst your bubble. I meme pretty fucking hard. I just don't do it like on camera very often. But Justin has hung out with me.
Yeah. Derek's got a sense of well, let me put it like this. Derek's got a great personality that you'd never see if you viewed his content.
That is the truest thing I think has ever been said about me.
I'm sorry, dude.
No, don't apologize. 100% truth. Like my content is very like teacher me, right? Like I try to keep it somewhat educational, somewhat respectful, and then like not, I don't know, content not teacher me is trouble. Eternal Youth asks us, do you know if the tourney client planned later on for the game will be very customizable?
I can't remember what I can say about this.
I believe they've said publicly that they do want to give us some customization options. It's hard for us to talk more about that because there's definitely been things discussed, but I don't want to say something and then have it not either not show up, or even like I don't want to say something and then if it's not there for the first version of it, because again it's going to be like an iterative thing. Yeah. Also, Black Drop, again, we keep the notifications off for the podcast, but Black Drop, thank you for gifting a sub to Joe. That was very kind of you. I see your sub, Immortal King, Ian.
Wow, look at all these subs, man.
Jarl Stefan, Solar Fox McLeod coming in. We really, really appreciate it, so thank you.
We do. I don't give a shit.
I got one. I'm happy.
I'm sorry. I know I'm really like kind of combative tonight, and I'm not meaning to be. I'm in a really great mood for some reason, and like I'm happy to be here. So I'm taking it out. So I'm taking it out on you.
Blackdrop wants to know if we can use Skype every week. The dynamic camera zooms are super fun.
No, are you kidding? It's awful.
It is pretty awful. It's been driving me nuts.
Look. Yeah, it's awful. I look terrible anyway. Normally, Justin isn't happy to be here. That's not true. I actually had a lot of fun. I mean, Joe's been great tonight, but I had a lot of fun last week when it was just Derek and I for the first time in forever. That was pretty sweet.
I really enjoyed watching that too. I always
Bell
do.
Belmiri
you.
asked, "Will you twerk on stream if there are 5 more subs?" Fun fact: I physically cannot twerk. I've broken my tailbone twice, and after the second one, because that was when I got hit by a car. After I went to the chiropractor and had X-rays done recently, the chiropractor
Yeah.
told me that when I broke it the last time, it healed wrong, so my tailbone curves like in and in a weird direction, and it actually causes me like back problems and a few other things. Um,
Damn, old man.
yeah, so like I would love to twerk for you. Like I
Yeah.
can jiggle the cheeks, but that's not the same as like the full arc, you know? It's for a proper twerk. And I'm in
just not the
sweatpants.
same.
I'm in sweatpants, so I'm not sure if you could see the cheek jiggle. So I
Why do you-
apologize. I physically can't. Joe, maybe.
Hold on.
No.
Let's clarify. Why are you like? Why would you ever wear pants while streaming?
Because if here's why. That's actually a legitimate question. If something were to happen, right? Like if my kid wakes up crying and I need to go quickly, and I'm in a
Yeah.
my concern is that if I ever am in a position where I have to go deal with something, I may
Yeah.
forget to throw up like the "Be Back Soon" screen or something, and
You you don't want to go full Will's dad.
yes, yes. So
Legendary.
Will's dad's a fucking hero.
so typically it's either sweatpants or like athletic shorts. For
Yeah.
comfort, but yeah, I do wear pants.
Fair enough.
I'm just catching up to some parts of chat. Dust was trying to say that Unkano's voice line was, "Hello, I'm Unkano. I'm a wee rancid skank," and that's the best worst British voice I can do.
Damn.
Yeah. Ian Bits, oh my god, I want to be best friends with my dog. Listen, Oi is the best. Oi is fantastic. He is the most loyal, the most fun. He's like my favorite loaf of bread ever. Yeah, and the dog is called Oi. So I'm seeing a Doc here, but he's actually named after the Billy Bumbler from the Dark Tower series. And then I have 2 other pugs. I own a grumble of pugs, which means 3 or more. So I also have Lily and Zoe. Lily's our adopted one, but we don't tell her, even though she looks different from the other 2, so it's pretty obvious. Because Oi and Zoe,
I don't know why that's so funny.
Oi and Zoe are brother and sister, but from different litters. But they're both fawns, and then Lily is an all-black pug, and she was a rescue.
Yeah.
And apparently, I got my wife laughing now. So I just got to where Shannara asks us to do a rapey gourmet as far as voice lines go. So he wants to hear a rapey grizzly gourmet.
What's Grizzly Gourmet say?
I don't know. Joe, you do a rapey grizzly gourmet.
I can't even do a regular grizzly gourmet.
I believe in you, Joe.
I do not. No, not gonna happen.
I have many important pastries on my mind. Fuck it, I don't know what he says.
All right. So, I mean, somebody just flat out said, so how bad was that update? Which we've kind of been covering. I mean, it obviously wasn't great.
Yeah, it could have been worse.
Could have been worse. I mean, it wasn't great, but we've already got one pretty sizable patch. I know that they are actively working on a second one with a lot of bugs identified. The no downtime update I thought was pretty nice. It's a good sign for the future. Doc says, did they intentionally remove drops so that they have less beta testers in their buggy new client? No. I can say that. I can say that definitively. No.
Yeah. Look, I don't know what the connection. I don't know that there's necessarily a huge connection between Twitch viewership and like engaged players.
I mean, there is, but there isn't. Like, one is not necessarily reflective of the other, but there is usually a correlation. Um, but it also kind of depends on. I mean, it depends on some other factors, though, too, right? Like, your audiences are just naturally different between IPs. Like, Hearthstone gets a big audience because, one, it's filled with a lot of, like, highlight reel moments, but it's also coming from a community that was, like, Warcraft and World of Warcraft based, where people were already, like, in raiding guilds and used to talking to each other. Whereas, like, the Elder Scrolls universe, you know, it has a very dedicated, large fan base, but they're all single player games, right? So, like, when I play Skyrim, I'm playing Skyrim in my underwear for like 100 hours in my basement. And then when I play Skyrim, the card game, I don't think like, hey, I'm going to play that with my buddy that I've been playing Skyrim with, because I haven't been doing that. Whereas, like, with Warcraft and Hearthstone and the people that were already doing that, like, there was already kind of like some built-in connections there. So I think that obviously low Twitch numbers aren't great, and we'd love to have them higher. And there is a definite correlation there, but I don't think that it's like apples to apples necessarily.
I know not many. Lilybucks. I'm skipping way ahead. Lilybuck says, "I know not many people are streaming right now." Yeah, but have you noticed that I'm streaming? Let's get to the important stuff.
I've been really digging your streams, Justin. You guys are really cute.
Oh, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. It's been fun. Like, I never thought like Sandra's always like really been behind the scenes. Like, she puts in a lot of work on the channel, and like she's actually the reason I started the channel in the first place. She thought it'd be funny. But doing it with her has been great. It's been great for our relationship, and I think it's important that there are a diversity of people out there creating Legends content.
I think this is a good question. Silverfuse asked, how much would you say the secret committee of content makers / players influence Bethesda's decisions?
Oh, the Secret Legends Cabal?
Yeah.
Good question.
I mean, if you're not comfortable taking it, I'll take it.
Knock your stuff out, man.
I don't think that we influence their decisions a whole lot. They certainly like ask us for feedback, and we give it. But like, I can tell you, when we took that trip to HQ, for example, you know, they were listening and they were attentive. And like I said earlier, when we were talking about the bugs, Sparky was very, very quick to like listen to, you know, hey, this isn't working and blah blah blah. But I am never, ever gonna be like under any sort of assumption that like what I say influences them. You know, they're in full control of that IP over there, and there's like a big process. Like, Elder Scrolls is more than just Legends to them, and there's like multiple departments and games and whatever that they have to take into account with anything that like comes from Elder Scrolls. And so even if we wanted to give feedback about some stuff, it's just not going anywhere. Like, again, like it's tough, because I don't want to make it sound like what we as a community have to say doesn't matter, because it does matter. But it's not like we have any direct influence, right? Like, we're just data points the same way that everyone else's data points are, if that makes sense.
I think that maybe something I can say is that they being like the people who make these sorts of decisions, they listen to everybody who's interested in this game, like who's passionate about the game, right? And if you want, you know, them to hear what you have to say, post on the Reddit. Like, I know for a fact that multiple people at Sparky Pants and Bethesda like dig through every post on that Reddit, shit post or not, to find, you know, where people's heads and hearts are at with this game. So
yeah, I mean,
everybody is listened to.
Yeah, I don't want to start conspiracy theories or anything, but like, Peter has already, Peter Generos, right, from Sparky Pants, has already said, like, he has a Twitch account, and he's been active in the community for months. He wouldn't tell me what it is, right? Like, but he's like, yeah, I've been active, and I sit in chats, and I've even subbed to some people. So, like,
Dude, he's probably a fucking tuna fish account.
He probably is, right? Like, so, but I guess my point is, like, they're there and they listen, but I think that they listen to everybody. I don't think that anybody that they have, like, regular contact with has any sort of real influence. And, like, so Ian went out, right? So, like, Ian's in chat. He can speak to this. Like, we went out and there was feedback, but, like, I think Ian would reiterate what I'm saying, which is, like, we don't have, like, any sort of real authority or weight any more than anyone else. Like, they just genuinely look for feedback the same way they always do. But I do think that was a good question.
It was cool. Like on the day that the new client went live, someone posted a Reddit post that had a screenshot of the Sparky Pants website, and it was just a typo of our game name. It said Tessel:legends. And that was fixed on the website within like half an hour of the post. I thought that was pretty cool.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's neat. Plot twist, Dust is Peter. I'm hearing the X-Files theme song in my head right now.
Apparently, a lot of people liked my quote, I can jiggle the cheeks, so I officially added that now for future.
Hey, I have another way you can look at the Secret Legends Cabal's influence. If I had any fucking influence...
Witherhand Cultist would have been deleted a long time ago.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
that is exactly what I was gonna say.
He was calling for nerfs for that, like, at the visit. He was calling for nerfs for that at both PAX events. Like, that gives you anything.
Well, like, I want to be clear. I don't just ask for absurd shit, but I did raise my concerns about how unfun that card is. Although I think it's balanced. Just like super fucking not cool to play against, though.
Yeah.
Justin is just a memer, though? Yeah.
All right. So, another good question. Immortal King says, I really hate how people point to the Steam charts and call our game low player base. I think Steam is probably 10% of the player base. What do you guys think?
I think 10% is being incredibly generous.
Really?
Yep.
I mean, this is, again, one of those, like, rough spots where we can't say too much, but I can tell you that mobile is far and away the largest portion of our player base, which was one of the reasons they were trying to put an emphasis on the mobile client. What do you think, Joe? Like, you said you found it on Steam, so I assume you play mostly on PC, right?
Yeah, like 100%. I played fewer than 10 games ever on mobile. I just wanted to check it out of curiosity for the new client recently, and I can't get it working.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing on mobile when I can. I just can't yet.
But I assumed that the majority of our player base was just mobile.
We own the Sky must have just noticed the tags that I put, because I got to the part where they said, when's the body painting happening? So if you don't know, Twitch recently added tags, and I didn't want to use no tags, but when I was going through the list, there was nothing for, like, card games or anything of that sort. So we can put up to 5 tags, and right now we are streaming live under the tags educational, fortune telling, meme runs, pop culture, and body painting. Those are the tags we are using on Twitch right now.
There's no cheek jiggling?
No, it was not on there, sadly.
High quality.
Yeah. This is another good question. P. Cado, I'm probably slaughtering that, but asked, what is the Secret Legends Cabal? That's the name Justin gave it, but there was a group of us that got to go out to Bethesda's headquarters, test this client back in May, give them feedback, etc. Justin just calls it the Secret Legends Cabal, but there wasn't a ton secret about it. Like, you can see pictures of everybody who was there. Like, we tweeted about it. It was known.
Yeah, I made some T-shirts that said Secret Legends Cabal May 2018, and gave them out to everybody because I wanted to get a picture of Pete Hines with a T-shirt with my face on it. And in order to do that, I had to spend a couple $100 on T-shirts for everybody. So ultimately, it was worth it. Sandra and I ordered those while we were on our honeymoon. Sandra says hello, by the way. She's here.
Hi, Joe.
Hi, Sandra.
She's a fan.
So, I think this is interesting. It's something I want to touch on. It wasn't a question necessarily, but Kenny Dota said content creators dictate largely what the other pleb data points say, though. So not necessarily a question, but how do you guys feel about that? Like the idea that, as faces of the community, as people who either make content or like influence it via decks or, tournament performances. Do you think do you feel like you have a lot of influence on the game and the community as a whole? Do you like take that seriously? And I was really curious to hear from Joe specifically. Like, how do you view yourself in terms of the rest of the community and your relationship with them, and like any responsibilities that you may feel you have because of that, etc.?
I know that I have meta influence. Like if I obviously do well in a tournament with something, it's going to show up naturally on the ladder. When I'm talking to people, there is a line that I think has grown as I've become more well known in the community, that I won't cross when I'm being super sarcastic and joke mean to people, but not hugely. I don't think it influences my behavior too much. I think it's fun to sometimes like throw a singleton something, which I probably just picked up from Karakon because the same thing happens every time he does anything. Throw a single of a card into a deck, and like the Warrior, for example, that I've been taking everything for like a year now, and it's a little bit different every time I bring it to anything, and people are like, why do you keep doing this? And I tell them it's like the textbook companies put out a new edition every year. You have to pay for it even though there's 2 lines different.
That's amazing.
That's every one of my sorcerer posts, right, Justin?
I'm sorry, bro.
You're not sorry one bit.
Though, that I say all those things with love, right? Like,
no,
I wouldn't make fun of you if like I didn't like expect you to do it back, and like if we weren't actually friends.
Listen,
but I do love doing the Master Series with you, though. Taught me how many people actually think we hate each other.
I cry myself to sleep every night because of you.
Yeah. I think we need to go back though and like give Joe an amazing fucking shout out for that awesome fucking like description of what his influence is. Like those decks, the textbook thing, that was great. Yeah.
Thank you.
Follow-up question for Joe. Dust wants to know, who within the community do you look for deck ideas and creations of new lists? And I think that's a fantastic question as well.
Oh man, it is. Well, I just pay attention to what's performing well. So, like when Hackme was winning every tournament for like a month straight, obviously I was staring at him, and right now I'm doing pretty well. Not that we've had a tournament for a couple weeks because of what's been going on, obviously, but recently I've been doing pretty well, so I've been net decking myself.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but I respect all the top players in the community and what they come up with, so I explore at least a little bit everything. Especially Dust's Plunder Warrior.
Right?
Best warrior ever created.
Derp Config asks us, would you ever stream or record from mobile to show off the current mobile experience? I want to see what other non-PC players are getting for an experience.
I don't know how to do that, but like if I could get it to run on mobile, I'd try.
I have the ability to record on mobile. I've actually like recorded some gameplay before, not from Legends, but for other mobile games. I don't do it a lot because the way that the recording works on mobile, in my opinion, like capturing your voice sucks. So usually I record and then I do a voiceover later, and that's like kind of tedious. But that's a good idea. I might do that at least once. I'll consider it.
Search Out has streamed quite a few times from mobile. Not since the new client, but he used to.
I might have to check that out.
Joe, you've had Hercule Satan, Swanky, and a few other people ask if you are willing to marry them.
Hmm. I will be reviewing their qualifications later tonight.
That's code for send Joe nudes.
You have my contact information.
The Fun and Interactive Podcast goes places other podcasts are too scared to go.
Oh, this is a good question. Rebin Jam wants to know, did we have to sweat a blood oath not to reveal details of Matt's face while you were in Maryland, or did you have to sign an additional NDA before you met him?
He just asked us not to say anything or take pictures of him.
Listen, I've already violated the NDA, and I've described everything about his face. It's angelic. It's hard to look at directly. It's like looking into the sun. It is a thing of beauty. It is majestic and magnificent, and puts his voice to shame.
All right. That's a possible explanation as well, I guess.
All right, I'm trying to catch up, man. Chat's been on fire tonight, so thank you everybody for participating. Silverfuse, not really a question, but just wanted to point out that she thinks they get enough of the like general data from Reddit and thinks they should get more influence from the top competitive or ladder players. I understand what you're saying, but it is a bit of a double-edged sword because as much as we are probably the most invested in the game, we're also the minority of the game, right? Like, if their goal is to grow the community and get new player acquisition and things, like, this is going to sound kind of like bad, but I don't know how else to word it, right? They need the everyday man and like the layman's point of view probably a little bit more than ours because, you know, you can only, you know, have so many top players in the game, right? And so even though we might have the greatest understanding of the game, we might have the most invested in the game, we're, you know, we certainly help, and at least I hope we help the community grow by, you know, being advocates for the game, but we're not the target audience, if that makes sense. So it's interesting. It's different. I would love to have more input. Don't get me wrong, but I understand why we don't, if that makes any sense at all. We got another question.
I will say too, though, like even amongst just like the people who make content for the game, like there is a huge amount of diversity amongst like the opinions of people who create content. You know, like I think that like, for instance, like questions about should certain cards be neutral, right, is one that the content making community has kind of gone back and forth on recently. Those aren't questions that I think maybe the people who exclusively play Solo Arena or never get past rank 10 are considering. And because, like, you know, they've recently, I saw a post on Reddit by somebody official who said that, like, the vast, like you are in the 1% if, like, you're, like, a top legend player, right? So if you take into account the other 99% of players, their opinions are just more important. There's just more of them. I hope that made sense. I got distracted because I'm playing Slay the Spire.
Shocker, I know, right? Joe, what are you doing for like the next 6 months in terms of podcast availability?
I'm free, man. Let's do it. We have to have Justin once in a while, though.
Yeah, I'd be a great guest.
He'd be a great guest, right? Picado, good follow-up question here. I've only focused on 2-color decks. What 3-color deck should I focus on as my first one? I'm a little new to the game. Joe, you want to lead off?
So I'm sorry, I missed it. What was it?
Somebody who's new to the game, they've pretty much only focused on 2-colored decks, and they want to know what 3-colored decks should they begin venturing into.
I think if you're just starting to learn, like I'm not sure exactly how much time you spent on 2-color decks, but I think the most straightforward tricolor class is Rhetoric. It's a good class to figure out the proper ratios that they're of different costed creatures, and there are enough of each cost to fill it in well with choices for each one. I think it provides a lot of room to tinker and figure out why decks work when they do work.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, I think the only thing that I would add to that would be it just depends on your collection. You know, if you're newer to the game, I would say maybe start with whatever tricolor. Like if you have some really good 2-color decks that you feel confident in, and there's a tricolor where you can combine them. Like I agree with Joe. I think Rederin's probably the easiest one to make the jump on. But if just hypothetically, you know, you've got a good Battle Mage deck and a good Assassin deck or something, then Daggeth might be better for you, taking collection into account. But yeah, everything Joe said I think is right on.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think there's a massive difference necessarily. Like when I was first learning, obviously tricolor decks weren't around, but I would become really attached to specific cards or combos or whatever, and just see how they worked in all the classes that you can play them in, and that carries over easily to tricolor.
Here on the Fun and Interactive podcast, we like to ask the hard-hitting questions. So, Nickel Queen wants to know, Joe, why did you unfriend me in game? Now I can't bug you when we queue. You stink.
Well, I mean, she answered her own question in the question.
Fuck.
Ooh,
I unfriend a lot of people though. Like, I mean, I'm constantly having to make room for tournaments and stuff.
I will say the friend request feature is something that I've been happy to have. Like, it functions much better than it used to. I used to routinely crash the game, like trying to fix that. No longer.
Yeah.
This is good stuff. That just reminded me of when, like, whenever there would be like, here's some behind the scenes of the Master Series thing. Whenever there would be like, I would say 4 seconds at most of dead air during the during all of that shit, somebody in your ear would say, "All right, dead air, guys, what are you doing?"
Yeah, like constantly. And I'm just I'm trying to make sure I'm not missing questions here.
We talked for 8 fucking hours.
Yeah, I know, right? It was something else. I remember when I was trying to get interviews from people at the Master Series, and Joe was like, "No." just
Well,
flat out no.
You asked me right when I got there, and I'm kind of like of the opinion that I don't want to watch myself giving an interview before losing terribly, after losing terribly, if that makes sense.
No, it does. But
So,
my school of thought was
like, look at how happy and young and innocent I was, and I just got crushed, you know?
Yeah.
I don't want to go through that. If I won, I'd be happy.
My school of thought was like, I was like, I want to try to interview as many people before they start playing, because I had a feeling like once they'd lost, they were just like not going to want to talk about it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm out, I've lost. So I was like, man, I really want to hope to catch people before we play. And everybody was like, no. And I understand, like, I get it. Everyone was tired and nervous and trying to focus, but I knew that once people had started losing, they were going to be like, yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, they actually do that, Caniac. Oh, and Grognak, yeah, they have fixed the friends list. At least the problem that I was facing. I don't know what else the friends list does because I've just not fucking touched it in like a year now. But it's working. Like I no longer crash the client when trying to dismiss or add friends. I had a backlog of hundreds of people that I finally went through.
Got a great question, and I can't wait to hear Joe's response. Which cards do you think are problematic at the current stage of the game?
Oh, that is a good question.
I don't really have anything, to be honest. Like, I haven't been playing a whole lot because the game hasn't been particularly playable for me since the update. Prior to that, I don't love the Ox combo situation, and obviously Warriors skipping people's turns is a little bit problematic.
Yeah.
Are you having problems with the Ox combo, Joe?
Yeah. Well, I don't think because of that freaking Exodia 13 Magicka combo in particular, I don't think that should exist.
Oh, that's what you mean. I thought you meant you were having problems with like pulling it off because I was like,
Doing it? Oh no.
I was gonna say I just recorded myself doing it in the new client. Like next week is basically a bunch of OTK videos. I do Wisp Raiders, Ring and Namira, Unite the Houses, Nixox.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
I've been playing. I recorded a couple videos with Abomination, and it's actually remarkably easier to play in the new client. Like I kept like thinking that my turn had to be almost over, and like the timer hasn't even started yet.
Yeah, I got a ton of practice on that Ox combo in the original Assassin version.
Yeah.
And then once the Telvanni was exposed as being really strong, that was during the Master Series qualifiers. I practiced the hell out of that and brought it to the last three.
So,
yeah, I've been good.
I was gonna just pivot to you, Justin, and say, did you think there were any cards that were problematic?
As far as power level goes, like, good question. The highest card on my radar is Nixox, just because I'm not a fan of OTKs of any kind. Even though I record a lot with them, I just not a huge fan. Other like cards I mean, like I think that conscription is played to like more than I wish it was played. Like I'm just bored with it. I don't know that it's too powerful. In fact, I'm fairly certain it's not. And there are a lot of ways to just beat it, right?
Yeah.
Like certain, both like control decks. Like you could run an Unstoppable Rage running control deck, or you could run an aggro deck to get under it. Like, and that goes for the three like main conscription decks I run into. Cards that are too powerful. I mean, I can't think of anything right now. Yeah. I'm just bored because like we haven't had new content in 6 months.
Yeah.
I think that it's such a hard question to answer goes to show how well balanced the game is.
Yeah, I totally agree.
This is the same answer I give every time this comes up. In terms of like problematic cards, and I think it's Unite the Houses. I think Unite the Houses right now is what Ulfric's Uprising and Conscription and like Doppelganger were when Forgotten Hero Collection came out. When Forgotten Hero Collection came out, and Justin and I were reviewing the cards, we kept saying over and over again, like, this card isn't good now, but keep an eye on it because it just needs some things to be printed for this to be nuts. Because, like, let's be honest, Ulfric's Uprising came out, and we were like, I don't really see it. And then Morrowind came out, and it's been a beast. That's how I feel about Unite the Houses.
We were both super concerned about Ulfric's Uprising when it was revealed.
Yeah. That's how I feel about Unite the Houses now. Warrior 7 has already kind of shown that it can be consistent a little bit, but I think that we are just a handful of cards away from that thing being a problem, and it'll be if it ever gets to that point, it'll be a much, much, much bigger problem than, in my opinion, Nixox or anything else, because it's 3 Magicka and neutral, and you can run 3 copies of it, and there is no, like, even I hope for a prophecy to interrupt this. There is no race the turn timer. It's just straight win the game. So in terms of, like, problematic cards, things that could potentially, like, everyone likes to throw around, like, it limits design space. That's a card that really, truthfully, 100% does limit design space. Like, not a meme saying it like that. So that is the card I think has the potential to be the most problematic. You have to dance around it heavily from a design point of view.
Yeah, I think the game in the future would be better off if Uprising didn't exist.
I was just going to say, if or when we get the Mage Monk Assassin House that's you know, yellow, blue, green, then the Unite the Houses Tribunal that Warriors plays will be completely broken in that house, because you'll have the green all the time, you know?
I agree.
I was going to say, I think the same thing about with Battle Mage as well, like willpower, strength, intelligence. I think that one's potentially really problematic as well, because you still get a lot of the defense, but you get things like the Battle Mage Onslaught. You get like Plunder. Like, there's so many randomized effects that you can do there.
Mm-hmm.
Belmore, Crime Master. Swanky asks, any of the nerfed cards that you would like to be unnerfed, like Atro maybe?
No. Hard no.
I want Crystal Tower Crafter and Harpy to be 2/2s again, Kappa.
Nope.
I wouldn't mind Manticore having guard again, because that was like the easiest thing to play around to just win the game when they play it.
Nope.
Jarl Estefan wants to know if any of us have tried any Slay decks, because the Slay animation's incredibly slow with Sanctuaries right now. I've heard that from others, but I have not tried it, no.
Yeah, I haven't tried it personally.
The Last Gasp, the animation takes way too long too.
I agree. It is distractingly long, but I'm not sure if it's because I'm not used to there being an animation associated with it, or if it's actually long. Like, I don't know. I always second guess my like reactions to things, because like I worry that so much of like that I really want to try, as a content creator, to like avoid like irrational statements, like and I preface everything that I try to preface things with I feel, you know what I mean? So I'm not sure, but I've been thinking about that a lot.
And also the mulligan, like when you toss your cards, it takes a couple seconds to get them back. That's really annoying to me.
Yeah.
But I could, there's a lot of polished stuff that will be worked on. There's a ton of good that I'm excited about too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have full confidence that they'll get the animation stuff sorted out. I think that they're trying to do their best to do things in order of importance, right? So like fix the bugs that could potentially impact the game, and then sort out the animations and smooth it out and blah, blah, blah. Stuff that also is probably going to make it in, though. So like, I know a lot of people saw they fixed Unkano's voice line, and I heard a lot of like, well, why'd they fix that when there's so many other broken things? Well, the truth is that one was probably a pretty quick fix, right? Like, you were pointing to one file and you just tell it to instead play this other sound file, and then like you call it good, right? Like, that's, yeah. But I'm sure that like when it comes to prioritization, they're trying to get the stuff that like impacts games.
Shinara says something interesting. Shinara says, I think Brotherhood Sanctuary is broken. I just think there aren't enough good Slay cards. I wouldn't be surprised to see it get nerfed someday. I actually feel exactly the opposite. Like, I feel like the game has, since its inception, drifted further and further away from decks that are in any way interested in trading.
Well, but the trade might not be. So let me advocate for Shinara, right? The trade might not be the goal. It might just be the activation. Like, imagine if Blood Magic Lord wasn't like this big late game card. Imagine if instead you had something that was like a 3-cost 3/3 that made blood magic spells. I know that's ridiculous, right? But like, hear me out. If your goal was ever like, I'm gonna play this, and then on the next turn, if they don't have an answer for me slaying something, I'm gonna drop like 2 Brotherhood Sanctuaries and gain a bunch of value. Like, it could become a pseudo combo deck. I could maybe see that.
I think Blood Magic Lord would see exactly the same amount of play it sees now if it didn't have that slay ability at all.
Well, right, because everyone cares about the summon, but that's also a super late game, right? I'm saying if you ever get a reason to do it early, I think that we might see something. But Eternal Youth wants to know: do you think the new devs might bother improving mechanics like Treasure Hunt and Exalt, or will they forever be mediocre in terms of deck building around?
I think that both abilities could see play in small amounts, or could see new cards in small amounts.
I mean, I've talked to Peter and thrown some suggestions about how to improve some of those, but I can't say whether or not I'll ever be listened to.
I think Treasure Hunt is really cool. I'd love to see that be competitively viable.
I do too. I think something that would help it out a lot personally is if it counted on your opponent's turn. Like the fact that if I break a rune and I don't trigger stuff, I think that impacts it pretty hard.
Yeah, for sure.
Kazoo Croc wants to know our thoughts on how long before we need to seriously consider phasing out sets and then have potentially like a wild ladder or like essentially 2 different game modes.
I think that decision needs to be made in March of 2019.
That's quite specific. Suspiciously specific.
I would say that decision is at least 1 pack-based expansion away.
I don't actually know anything about March of 2019. I'm just
Trying to cover
Trevor can
himself.
vouch for that. Everything I know, he knows. I don't know shit about March.
Nikki P wants to know what her opinion was on the patch released today.
Good.
I think it was freaking awesome. Yeah, just like I know the patch notes were really, really long, but it was just the one smoothing out the attack animation just made a world of difference to me. It made the entire game fun to play again for me personally.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I think it helped a lot. I mean, it's a bunch of bug fixes, so there's not like a lot to be super excited about. But yeah, I think it helped. I was excited.
Yeah, me too.
Dave Modi said, did people actually get the legendary login reward card? The card I got never made it into my collection. I would say, Dave, log out and log back in and then check, because when I got the notification, I went and looked. It wasn't there, and then the next time I logged in, it was. Like, I got a Gortwog, and when I went to my collection to soul trap it, it still said I only had 1 Gortwog, and I was like, oh, that's weird. And then the next time I logged in, I magically had 2 Gortwogs. So I think that there's still something tied to that or some sort of delay, but that's what I had to do.
I got a red Brahmin when I logged in today. Actually, I got 2 login rewards today. I got the last 2 days of the month.
Grognex asks, do we think the expansion will be delayed to fix the problems with the game? I mean, I don't know if delayed is the right word, but I would be shocked if we get an expansion when there's so many bugs still at large, because you don't want to introduce new variables to an equation you're still trying to solve.
Mm-hmm.
My guess is that never mind.
Good call, Justin. Moving on. All right, we're getting pretty close to caught up here. If people want to throw in, we'll say like 2 more questions, right? Because we're already a little over. We went a little long, and that's not a bad thing. I love Joe. I just know Justin's getting tired, but I'll talk to Joe all night.
Hey man, I have stayed engaged all evening.
I know you have. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, bro.
I don't even mean that sarcastically. I mean like legitimately.
Thank you. Yeah.
And when you say here, okay, now that I've praised. When you say engaged, what you really mean was you've been enjoying Slay the Spire. And I also am not mad at you, but I just want to be clear.
That's fair. Yeah. Hey, Pie by Pie, what's up?
Yeah. Hello, Pie by Pie. She says, meanwhile, Joe is bored playing another game. No, Joe is
I'm having
not.
fun, man.
Joe is being nice and considerate. Justin, on the other hand.
Hercule's right, man. I just love watching chat.
Yeah, I do too.
I
Chat-
love all these guys.
I love making YouTube content, but the reason that I love like being live more is 100% chat. Like everybody here makes this a blast.
Mhm.
You know, I have to say, having gotten into streaming like in the last 2 weeks, I totally agree with you. Like I kind of always thought of because I'd streamed a handful of times for like preview events and shit, and it always felt like super exhausting, to be honest with you. But lately, I've really enjoyed it. Like chat's been awesome. Everybody's been cool. I honestly did not expect it to be as fun as it's been.
Yeah, I mean, like, listen, we've got, well over 100 people hanging out with us right now. So, like, think about that for a minute, right? Like, the whole reason I started streaming on Twitch was when I was growing up, I used to enjoy playing, like, console games with your buddies, right? You'd hang out on a Saturday afternoon. There might be 3 or 4 of you, and you'd sit around and play games and have a good time. And I missed that as an adult. So I was like, all right, let's, like, meet some people who share interests. And I found Twitch, and I saw other people doing it. I was like, I think I could do that. Right? So,
Yeah.
like, taking that concept and then trying to stretch that, like, imagine literally hanging out with, like, over 100 people, right? Like, because that's what we're doing right now. All of
Yeah.
us together in chat, and then, like, Joe and Justin and I, there's, like, 100 of us, right? Like, we could fill a movie theater or whatever with
Yeah.
everybody, and we're all just hanging out like that. Like, whenever I think about it in those terms, like that context, it kind of blows my mind that there are that many people, like, who all love the same thing and also are willing to, like, put up with us.
It's kind of
Yeah,
humbling.
totally.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Pie by Pie says it's a unique experience. Legends don't stream anything else. That's funny.
Justin has already tried streaming something else.
Yeah, we streamed Grand Theft Auto 5 because I'm an idiot. No, our computer couldn't handle streaming that game.
Oh, you're not just here for me. My wife is Lucky 13 or Lucky 1013 in chat, and so when she says she's just here for Charmer, she's lying. I know that she secretly loves Justin.
No, I love you too, Sophie. You're a good woman.
Also, hello, Firo. Nice to see you as well. If you guys don't know Firo, another fantastic member of the community.
Yeah, Firo, good to see you around, man. Legends misses you.
So, Hercule said, speaking of new client, I can't log in right now, so I'm going to try to log in on mobile here real quick, see if I can confirm or deny that. But, yeah, last call for questions, gang. That's a fantastic question. Well, Rebin Jam wants to know, when you're playing Elder Scrolls Online, which faction is the best? Also, I was able to log in successfully, just so.
I always just make characters like whenever I make a new Elder Scrolls Online character, it's either because like I came up with a funny name that I want to put on a character. Like I have I made an Argonian because I was like, oh man, it would be hilarious if I was a lizard person and my name was Hid from Comet. So that's how I made that character, and then they're just in whatever fucking faction or whatever. Like I don't pay any attention to the lore in that game. I have no idea. That was such an awful answer.
Yeah, I think when I was playing, I played a lot in like the beta and then at launch, and I was playing as a Khajiit, so. Khajiit. Immortal King wants to know, favorite NFL team, Joe?
Seahawks, because that's my state team.
Raiders, because everyone hates them.
A Washington football club, but on the East Coast, right? The ones that are owned by Dan Snyder, who tanks every year with his bad management. Even though it kills me inside, I'm still paying attention. Zombie Hunter 9x19, what name do you think that you should give your chat/sub? Oh, that's actually a good question, because Justin is like the Crab Shack, right?
Yeah.
Uh, Joe, do you have something that you call like your chat and subs and whatever?
I don't even talk to my chat. I have no idea.
My man.
Yeah, I don't. I listen. I'm always open to ideas, but
Oh wait, I had that when we were talking about this in my chat. We, I suggested the Weeping Willows.
oh yeah. I'm okay with that, right? Because I'm depressed all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have no idea. I'm open to suggestions, but I don't have something.
Oh fuck.
And we also had Pie by Pie wanted to know what our favorite Bongo Cat meme was.
What?
There's a new meme floating around, Justin. If you haven't seen it, you'll love it. It's called Bongo Cat, and there's a bunch of different ones.
Oh, actually, I know what you're talking about. Sanders showed me some of those. Yeah. There's one where it's like playing this ELO song. I think. There's no way any of our chat knows who the fuck ELO is there?
Dust says Charmer's viewers are called the Jigglers. I'm not against that. That actually might be the best thing I've ever heard, Dust.
That's funny. Ooh, this is the important question. What are our favorite pastries? I like Dutch Kringle. Or, I'm sorry, Danish Kringle.
Joe?
I'm a fan of elephant ears.
Oh, that's such a good answer. Mine's cinnamon roll. But elephant
Really
ears
good.
pretty good. That's pretty good.
No one said pie. She's so sad. It's
I
not
don't
really
even-
a pastry, is it?
I was gonna say I don't know if that counts as a pastry unless it's like those bad McDonald's pies. Like I think pie is like above pastries. It's a flat out meal, you know, like pie is almost a religion in some places.
That's better than a lot of them.
Dust. Oh, good old Dust. What is an elephant ear? Let me tell you about what the elephant ear is. My UK friend from across the pond. An elephant ear is taking like flour and other bakery items and then deep frying it the good old-fashioned American way. And then when it comes out of the deep fryer, which by the way is usually kept in some sort of mobile truck, but not like a high-class food truck, like a carny truck traveling from like parking lot to parking lot across the Midwest. And this elephant ear, after it comes out of the deep fryer, is then smothered in sugar and powdered sugar and cinnamon and served so hot that it will scald your insides to various people who will buy it. And it is wonderful. It is delightful.
You're passionate, man. More than me.
Listen, I used to be
I like that.
very, very heavy, right? Like there is nothing there is
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
there is nothing that gets me more excited than talking about the junk food I used to eat. There is a fat guy in me always waiting to come out.
Mm.
That's funny.
Dust is still hurting from the spicy wings that Jason had him try at QuakeCon.
Oh,
He can't trust any of us.
I can't blame you, man. America's a scary place.
Yeah. Well, I think we're coming to the end of at least like the normal podcast thing. I'll probably continue streaming afterwards like I normally do, but it is getting late, and I know Justin's fading. He's been a trooper.
Thank you. Joe, thank you very much for coming on the show, man.
Oh, of course. Thank you, guys. This is a ton of fun.
I don't know how that's possible, but that's cool.
I'm serious, man.
Yeah, no, this was a blast.
Yeah, we'll definitely have you back.
Great. I'm looking forward to it.
Sweet.
Yeah, if he's still hanging out in chat, Arkham Warlock, we'd like to have you next week if you've got the
Yes.
results of your survey ready.
Arkham Warlock, please be on the show next week.
That would
Also,
be fantastic.
We will forget that we asked you, so please reach out to us.
Yeah. And, yeah, right, so who wants to take us on the closer for the recorded part? Do you want to have the honor, Joe? Do you want to say we'll see you on the ladder?
That's it.
Yeah, that's what we close on.
I'll see you on the ladder, guys.
I'm getting replaced.